I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBN, we're diving into a deeply moving and faith-filled journey. The name of the book we're talking about today is called From Mourning to Dancing. It is written by a terrific author. Her name is Laurie Robinson Sammons. This book is a must-read for anyone navigating trauma, grief, or hardship. Through powerful true stories of overcoming addiction, illness, and betrayal, as well as loss, this book reveals how pain can transform into purpose. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Laurie, great to see you here today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good morning, and thank you so much for the wonderful invitation to be with you today.
It's great to have you on the show. This is a powerful book. It is filled with faith. It is filled with hope. Why did you decide to share your story?
I would describe a period of 66 days of losing 5 first-tier family members as something that would be like grief Olympics. It was a very difficult time, and just trying to process my mother's death. On the heels of that came a sister-in-law, and then a niece's daughter, 5 years old, who shot herself, and then my husband. And so at that time, Logan, I was a national consultant. I was traveling the world by myself. And so normally connection to people and being independent and travel was not difficult, but I found myself really imploded. I was full of pain. And I think just the enormity, I felt like there was a mute button that had been stuck on sadness. And so I felt like there was a time that when the words would come to me after healing to be able to write about it. But I just to all the listeners out there that are sitting in an empty chair or feel like they're in an empty home, this book is really about an invitation to lean into the promises of God and saying there's hope and a future, even in the darkest times. In fact, I find our woundings really become a beautiful opportunity to have a renaissance of some type, a rebirth, and bring joy again.
That's a great way to look at it. You went through unbelievable suffering, unbelievable loss, unbelievable grief, losing so many people close to you in a relatively short amount of time. Psalms 35 helped you. Talk to
Yes.
us a little bit about how it shaped this book, how it shaped your philosophy on life and living.
Yeah. So I've taken your mourning and I've filled it with joy and given you dancing again.
Mm.
And that is what I'm finding, that chapter 1 of my life had many beautiful things about it. You know, there
Mhm.
were woundings,
Yeah.
but I will tell you, Logan, that I have found personally that I'm a much more compassionate person,
Mm.
having gone through difficult times. I don't believe that God is wanting luxury and comfort in our life. He is prepared to build our character. And if I would have lived a pain-free life, I don't think I would be the advocate that I am today and have the passion that I have for people. And so it has become a beautiful verse to say, lean into hope and a future. I'm taking your mourning and I'm going to let you dance again. So
Mm.
to those people out there that are feeling like joy can't come again, I'd say get your dancing shoes ready,
Yeah.
because joy can come, but we cannot rush grief.
Mm.
It's unsophisticated. It's not elegant.
Mm.
And it takes its own time. It's not with a checklist or an expiration date. We just have to go through it. Can't go around it because we get sick if we do.
I feel like with grief and with mourning and with loss, you don't really get over it. You just learn to live with it. Yeah.
My experience has been, I have always been a doer.
Hmm.
And I felt, Logan, that I was going to get through it. I will rise up again. And
Hmm.
I couldn't get out of bed. I wanted to
Yeah.
stay in my pajamas all day long. And so I think, yes, you have to live with it,
Hmm.
But you have to move on. You have to
Yeah.
take the invitation to open the door and open that gift of new life. And so, what I have found is that uh, when you're able to say goodbye to the old life and still honor it,
Yeah.
you are more willing and more able to say, Lord, what do you have for me? Please repurpose me now in um, this new part of life.
Yeah.
And so I honor every one of the seasons of my life. And so the beautiful thing about winter, Logan, is
Yeah.
spring and summer and fall are around the corner. We don't stay in our
Exactly.
dark. Yeah.
Exactly. It's tough. I mean, I've dealt with people who have lost children, and
Mm,
it's so heartbreaking that, their lives
yes.
in many ways will never be the same. Like you said, you just have to kind of grow into a different and a new person.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
guess faith is integral in
Mm.
that transformation from grief to growth, don't you think?
It's
Yeah.
huge. And to people who have been grieving so deeply, uh, there's nothing easy about that. Life will not be the same, but it doesn't mean that it can't be good again. And so, going through a grief group early on in my walk, I was sitting next to a lady who had lost her cat. And she said, Laurie, I understand your story. I lost my cat 2 years ago, and this grief group has been so good for me. And I wanted to smack her because my husband and the other four that I had lost
I
were not
know. I
losing her cat.
know.
And I was not wanting to be a lifer in that group.
Right.
And so, I had to dig, I had to say, I value life, I value
Mm.
joy. And I'm going to keep on struggling. I'm going to claw my way to wholeness. And
Yeah.
that's why I invited 14 others, Logan,
Mm.
uh, to be part of my book.
Yeah.
Mine is the first chapter, but there's infidelity and infertility and addiction and homicide. People who have experienced some really difficult things in life, but they've chosen to claw their way to wholeness again. And it doesn't happen today. It has to be something that we give grief time to work through. It comes in its time, but healing is on the other side.
Talk to us about the 14 contributors who are part of this
Mhm.
book.
Yeah. Well, what I have found, Logan, is that the stories are so relatable in the book. One of my chapters is on what to say and not say to people who are grieving. Another is about a young lady um, who had trauma early on in her life, and she has decided to listen to the script that God has written for her. You are chosen. You no longer need to dance on the grave that you once lived on. One of the chapters that has elicited such tremendous conversation is on narcissism. And I would imagine that you know people in that category as well as I do.
Oh,
And yeah, yeah, yeah. And so what can we learn from those kinds of personalities? We can't control them. And so, what do we do to become aware of those kinds of people, and how can we move on? And then another chapter that is so beautifully vetted by the work of Dr. John Gottman in the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. It talks about what do master relationships look like and what do disaster relationships look like. So, I mean, there's such an array of topics. And as I have maneuvered through this with different book groups and that kind of thing, I'm finding that there's a story for it.
you mentioned what to say and what not to say to people who are grieving. I always say, I'm sorry for your loss. And that's pretty much the best I can come up with because I don't know what they're going through. I don't know how you're feeling because the way I love my mother might be different than the way you loved your mother. So is
Yes.
that the best thing, simply to say, I'm sorry for your loss? What can somebody say or what is something people should not say?
Well, I think that's a beautiful start. And sometimes you don't have to say anything. I'm thinking of you. I'm here with you. Something not to say. I remember a woman coming to my door and saying, Lori, God needed your husband more than you did. That's something not to say. You
Yeah.
know, I understand and I feel you're hurt, and I'm so sorry you're having to go through this.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to come up with words to solve the problems. Just being there, sometimes a gentle hug or just having eye contact and someone to hold. We
That's
don't
what I
need to
remember
have
from
it
losing my
together.
mom. The most comforting thing was just holding someone and crying, because
Yes, yes.
words can't really make it go
Mhm.
away. You just have to cry and you have to go through it and you have to go through the pain.
Yeah.
Helpful in your book, and I think wonderful in your book and beautiful in your book, are the prayers and reflection questions at the end of each chapter. Tell us about those.
Mhm. The format of the book starts with a topic,
Mhm.
then it is accompanied by a personal story, then reflective questions, and the gift of prayer. And so, what I have found to be beautiful in this whole thing, as I've done it with a number of groups, is the reflective questions really take the reader into their own story and then give them the gift of the soothing words of our God. And, Logan, sometimes I think people are so afraid that they can't be real in their sadness. We are more alike than we are different. And our stories were never meant to be shared to an audience of one when we are humble enough, because it takes eating the humble pill sometimes to be vulnerable in times of hurt, but everybody goes through it. And so if we can be comforted by the promises of God. His truth is there in the dark seasons and in the light seasons. He's the rock that doesn't roll. It's the same. And in this crazy world, who tells us the lie that we're not enough, and that if we don't have status and possessions, that's what it's all about. In one of the stories that I've written, I took a deep dive into the life of a billionaire, Stephen Jobs, and he so explicitly says, "I had everything, but I experienced very little joy in my life." What I've learned is that a $30,000 watch keeps the same time as a $30 watch. And I've learned that if I can surround myself with beautiful human beings with which I can be real and genuine, to laugh and to cry, that's really the valuable things in life. And so, one of the parts he says, I implore you, don't teach your kids to be rich and entitled. Teach them the value of things, not the price.
Yeah.
And so, there are so many lessons to learn. And I think the more that we can be vulnerable and open and honest, we see how much we are all alike, so we can connect and be there for one another.
Absolutely. Jim Carrey actually says something similar to Steve Jobs. He says, I wish everybody could be rich and famous so they could realize that's not the answer. And
Yeah,
I think that's short and
yeah,
sweet and to the point. And I think it's
yeah.
pretty profound from a comedian who talks out of his butt cheeks.
That's,
Um,
that's right. All that
so,
glitters is not gold, right?
exactly, exactly. Let me ask you this. Do you have a passage from your book that you'd like to share with us?
Mhm. I do. I do. Thank you for asking.
Sure.
And this really is about asking the reader to lean in. Dear readers, the invitation has been sent, and the welcome banner is flying high at my front door, waiting for you to join me at the feast. The table has been set for a dedication party filled with reflection and meaningful dialogue. You will not find a one menu fits all here. The Almighty is ready to fuel us exactly where we are. He has customized this meal for you. As we sit at the global table together, my prayer is that you will hear the voice of the host as he speaks through the stories of real brothers and sisters who have been met exactly where they are as well. Welcome. If you are hungry for awareness, I am confident that you will leave this table full. Let the celebrations of life and love begin. So it's an invitation for everyone, regardless of what their belief system is. There's no finger wagging or judgment in the book. It is an invitation to hear the beautiful, soothing words of God to take pain away.
Wonderful. And I love the metaphor of the dining table and the meal and welcoming people to the table. It's a table we're all going to have to sit at sooner or later. There is grief and loss and pain in all of our lives, and learning to overcome that is the key
Yeah.
to learning. how to live life to its fullest as you
Absolutely.
have. And the secrets you've shared within the pages of this book are just wonderful. The name of the
Thank you.
book is From Mourning to Dancing. It is a powerful reminder that even through pain, joy is possible and healing is real. Laurie, thank you so much for joining me here today.
It's such a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Such a great pleasure to have you on the show. I appreciate your great faith, your insight, and your wisdom. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.